one of the most unfortunate trends in the poetry of the English language, by which of course I include poetry from the USA, was the unfortunate influence of William Carlos Williams. Carlos Williams was writing contemporaneously with Ezra Pound, and it is very unfortunate that Pound's very mad political views, his anti-Semitism, his identification with Italian fascism, and his obsession with economic theory, none of which he understood at all, somehow disenchanted his audience permanently. We have, after all, and I believe this probably more passionately than anything else I believe about poetry, to judge poets by their poetry, by the words on the page, not by the colour of the skin, political views, or anything else at all, not even whether they're mad or sane. And this simplicity in William Carlos Williams is to me utterly repellent. And this is the long sad trail that led to Elder Olson and Robert Creeley, Robert Bly, and to a whole host of poets that goes on right through until the present day. When I was a student many years ago, Ezra Pound was an author one had to read, study, and hopefully understand. And coming back 50 years later to select poems to read on YouTube, I find the pull of Pound is inexorable. There are some parts of Pound that are not successful, most of the cantos. There are some of the poems which are magnificent, but I don't personally find that the sentiments he expressed in them resonate with my own feelings. Yet somehow these poems are very, very important poems. There is a huge power in them. This power, I don't think, can be denied. This is a poem, particularly, this is a poem written by Pound under the influence of Provençal troubadours in the 15th century. It's not a poem that the sensibilities of which I share in any way, but it is still a magnificent poem. Sestina, Altaforte. Damn it all! All this our south stinks peace. You horse and dog papioles, come, let's to music. I have no life, save when the swords clash. But when I see the standards gold there purple opposing, and the broad fields beneath them turn crimson, then how I my heart nigh mad with rejoicing. In hot summers have I great rejoicing, when the tempests kill the earth's foul peace, and the lightnings from black heaven flash crimson, and the fierce thunders roar me their music, and the winds shriek through the clouds mad opposing, and through all the riven skies God's swords clash. Hell grant soon we hear again the swords clash, and the shrill neighs of destriers in battle rejoicing, spiked breast to spiked breast opposing. Better 1 hour's stour than a year's peace with fat boards, wine and frail music. Bah, there is no wine like the blood's crimson. And I love to see the sun rise blood crimson, and I watch his spears through the dark clash, and it fills all my heart with rejoicing, and pries wide my mouth with fast music, when I see him so scorn and defy peace, his lone might gainst all darkness opposing. The man who fears war and squats opposing my words for stour hath no blood of crimson, but is fit only to rot in womanish peace, far from where worth's won and the swords clash. For the death of such sluts I go rejoicing, yea, I fill all the air with my music. Papioles, papioles to the music. There's no sound like to swords, swords opposing. No cry like the battle's rejoicing, when our elbows and swords drip the crimson, our charges against the leopards rush clash. May God damn forever all who cry peace, and let the music of the swords make them crimson. Hell grant soon we hear again the swords clash. Hell blot black for always the thought peace. I can't imagine any piece of writing in the English language I so find which opposes my own rather pacifist views, yet at the same time it is, I think, truly Shakespearean in its majesty. And whether Pound actually had these views himself, I think it's impossible to say. He was hugely influenced by Provençal poets, and he tried to recreate empathically how they thought, and I think he did this very successfully. And I think that's why in this collection, which is the New Oxford Book of American Verse edited by Ellman chose this poem as an opening poem. What I think is most attractive about Pound, his immense virtuosity. He can write in this kind of rumbling, rumbustious, battle-loving vein, but he can write in a completely different way, as in Portrait d'une femme. Your mind and you are our Sargasso Sea. London has swept about you this score years, and bright ships left you this or that in fee. Ideas, old gossip, oddments of all things, strange spars of knowledge and dimmed wares of price. Great minds have sought you, lacking someone else. You have been second always. Tragical? No. You preferred it to the usual thing. One dull man, dulling and uxorious, one average mind, with one thought less each year. Oh, you were patient. I have seen you sit hours, when something might have floated up, and now you pay one. Yes, you richly pay, and you were a person of some interest. One comes to you and takes strange gain away. Trophies fished up, some curious suggestion, fact that leads nowhere, and a tale or two pregnant with mandrakes, or with something else that might prove useful, and yet never proves, that never fits a corner or shows use, or finds its hour upon the loom of days. The tarnished, gaudy, wonderful old work, idols and ambergris and rare inlays. These are your riches, your great store, and yet, for all this sea hoard of deciduous things, strange woods half sodden, and new brighter stuff in the slow float of differing light and deep. No, there is nothing, in the whole and all, nothing that's quite your own. And this is a beautiful love poem of Virginal. No, no, go from me. I have left her lately. I will not spoil my sheath with lesser brightness, for my surrounding air hath a new lightness. Slight are her arms, yet they have bound me straitly, and left me cloaked as with a gauze of ether, as with sweet leaves, as with subtle clearness. Oh, I have picked up magic in her nearness, to sheathe me half in half the things that sheathe her. No, go from me. I have still the flavour, soft as spring wind that comes from birchen bowers, green shoots. I April in the branches, as winter's wound, with her slight hand she staunches, hath of the trees a likeness of the savour, as white their bark, so white this lady's ours. Pound is an immortal, as Eliot said. In a letter to Eliot, in exile, Pound said he was concerned about his reputation. And Eliot said, you were already an immortal. There is an ability to use words like hath. I cannot think of any poet before or since Shakespeare who could have actually used that word, and somehow it doesn't matter. It's part of Pound's greatness to write in this way, and he translated from Japanese, he translated from Latin and Greek, and critics have said these were very bad translations, but I don't think really that's what it was about. Homage to Sextus Propertius is particularly a poem that has attracted the criticism of, I remember particularly Robert Graves. Graves was fluent in Latin and Greek, and he made quite a good living writing books like I, Claudius, but to me there is very little of Graves left. There might be one poem, but nothing else. I think this is an incredibly good poem. Whether or not it was a good translation, I have no idea. I don't have Latin to that degree. Shades of Callimachus, Coan ghosts of Philetus, it is in your grove I would walk, I who come first from the clear font, bringing the Grecian orgies into Italy and the dance into Italy. Who hath taught you so subtle a measure? In what hall have you heard it? What foot beat out your time bar? What water has mellowed your whistles? Outweariers of Apollo will, as we know, continue their Martian generalities. We have kept our erasers in order. A new-fangled chariot follows the flower-hung horses. A young muse with young loves clustered about her ascends with me into the ether, and there is no high road to the muses. Annalists will continue to record Roman reputations. Celebrities from the Transcaucasus will belaud Roman celebrities and expound the distensions of empire. But for something to read in normal circumstances, for a few pages brought down from the forked hill unsullied, I ask a wreath which will not crush my head, and there is no hurry about it. I shall have, doubtless, a boom after my funeral, seeing that long-standing increases all things regardless of quality. And who would have known the towers pulled down by a dealwood horse, out of Achilles, withstaying waters by Simois, out of Hector spattering wheel rims, out of Polydemantus by Scamander or Helenus or Deiphobos. Their dooryards would scarcely know them, or Paris, small talk of Ilion, and old Troad, twice taken by Oetian gods, if Homer had not stated your case. And I also, among the later nephews of this city, shall have my dog's day, with no stone upon my contemptible sepulchre. My vote, coming from the temple of Phoebus in Lyca at Patara, and in the meantime my songs will travel, and the de-virginated young ladies will enjoy them when they have got over the strangeness. This is only a very small part of the poem, but it is to me unbelievably redolent, with all kinds of power, all kinds of influence, and I found it a continual inspiration, and I think it is very sad that Pound seems to have been quietly dropped. I'm not sure whether or not he still figures in university syllabuses. Strange things have happened to university syllabuses over the last 50 years. Authors who, to me, and I will not mention names, except possibly Margaret Atwood, who particularly irritated me, have gained status where they have no status. And these things are very sad indeed when you look at Ezra Pound and read his work and hopefully gain some inspiration from it.